Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, where we are currently pushing back the Germans here, and there's not very many of them left. They've been in full disarray here, and we've been, I think, destroying a number of divisions ever since we got some pretty hefty nuke attacks off, and that has really turned this front. Did these guys just retreat all the way back out of our vision, or were they just destroyed? I'm unclear on that. But there was some units right here, and now there aren't. Large swaths of this are now unopposed. Actually, if we look at Germany here, and go into the intel ledger, we can see that they now have 653 to 761 divisions. That's down, at best, for them, 7 divisions. So that's great. The German army appears to be in collapse. And we're just going to continue aggressively attacking here and pushing our way forward. We've got our 2 lines here that we're pushing towards. And that'll be great. From there, we're just going to take our position up here. I want to check. These guys are all remaining neutral. Okay. So there's not all that much to attack over this way. But that's fine. The Germans are largely in retreat here, but logistics are going to become quite a lot more complicated for us as we push up over here. That's for sure. Right now, they're not so bad. Except over on this coast. But I believe we were already working on this coast. Let's check in on our construction here. We wanted to run a railway up this direction into... There's a victory point up here, wasn't there? Yeah, we wanted to run it up into there. So we want to grab from here like that. But I want that... I did that wrong. We have that down over here. Where are you? Here we go. We want to get those railroads built, and I want to get this upgraded. Like so. Cool. This railway is still converting over. We'll see how that ends up going. For the time being, that will help. Having a supply depot here would probably be a good idea, but I don't really know that we're going to get that done for the moment. We're advancing so quickly that our logistics are falling a little bit behind. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that one. How is... Oh, there's already quite a lot of compliance in these regions. That's nice. How are we doing on our manpower regen? 941? Okay, we've almost doubled our manpower regen. I like it. That's very, very good indeed. And we're continuing to push up over here. This area might be a little complicated for us to push into just because of the terrain. I mean, all of this area, now that I think about it. This is all jungle over here, and this is mountainous. So that might be complicated for us. But I think it's okay. Let's check in on our air war here. We've largely pushed past Angola. And we've definitely pushed past Southeast Africa over here. We know there are no air bases in this region. So, I'm going to, at this time, disband this air wing, and we will send its airplanes to reserves and get the manpower from it. This air wing, I'm not going to do that to, but this one I am. We're going to drop this one down. There we go, and we're going to get that manpower. Now we're going to come up to Angola from here, where we have a little bit further reach, but it's going to be tough for us. Our air bases are a long ways away. There's no doubt about that. Of course, so are their air bases. That bears noting. Cool. So that manpower will be consumed by this offensive fairly quickly. No doubt about that. The fighting strength of these German troops is quite low. I want to check in again. Okay, so the top end has increased here. They have basically no manpower, but their manpower regeneration is insane compared to ours, so there's that to notice. We've determined that they have a manpower regeneration of like somewhere around 70,000 per month, or they had that. at least, when they had India. I don't know how it is at this point. It might be a little bit different now. What are we short on? Steel, but we have way too much chromium. That's interesting. We're getting a lot of chromium over this way. That would explain it. So as far as the steel goes, we can grab a little bit from the British. Perfect. So that'll do the trick and keep our factories supplied. I'm wondering at this point when these are going to be filled out. These should have all of their manpower for sure, because we had all that manpower freed up. So yeah, that'll be fine, but we are lacking the equipment, right? So we're lacking the anti-air here, I believe. Yep, we need 20 anti-air. I think... Are these considered upgrades or reinforcements in these priorities? I'm going to bump reinforcements back down to medium priority, and instantly we see that we get 8 modern tank chassis in this armored division. Okay. So if we go back in here, 926. Cool. Okay. We're still ramping up our production of tanks and anti-air. So for the moment, that will be fine. And we're continuing to push back the Germans here. We can now see some American troops in Africa. They're mostly just holding down in this area. Now, we may see a naval invasion over here. It's completely unopposed if that ends up happening. This infantry division did get finished, so those 20 anti-air went in here quite quickly. We needed to move the infantry into... Well, we needed one of each into here, so we'll go ahead and do that. Infantry moves in there. Cool. So they'll get shipped on over. It looks like the Germans have moved some additional forces over here. That's not surprising, considering their losses. But, 798. Their number of divisions is definitely increasing right now. So they're recruiting. But because their manpower is constantly at minimum, recruitment means that their manpower is not getting to their front lines. Which is interesting. Portugal wants to... Portugal exists still? Portugal still exists. They haven't gotten wiped off the map yet. I'm surprised about that one. The British Empire is still trying to make gains over here. It seems like we are largely the only ones making solid gains right now. The French Commune and the US over here have made some gains. But it seems like the others have all stalled out. Now that may happen to us too, to be clear. As we push up here, we may stall out as well as more German forces get to the front. Our logistics are surprisingly good through this, honestly. I'm shocked that they're this good. This is remarkable. Unfortunately, we are spending 26 trade value on traded goods, or rather 26 civilian factories on traded goods. I would like to back off on our steel order, but we will need to get access to some of this extra steel over here. Can we make any decisions over here? No, we can't. Okay. That said, infrastructure construction over here will help with that. So infrastructure here is already queued up. I'm going to queue up infrastructure in all of these locations, but for the moment... Actually, it's probably... Because our logistics are fine, I'm going to drop the priority of these down, and it'll be something kind of like this. So we're going to get our existing railroad queues and our nuclear reactor done. That should finish up quite quickly. Like, it should be no real problem to get all that done. The nuclear reactor will take a little longer. But these German forces that we're facing here are not particularly threatening, to be honest. This fill-in looks good. Like, these are kind of poorly... These are lightly equipped, poorly supplied soldiers with, as far as I can tell, some pretty poor morale. So that's pretty great. We're making huge gains over here. That's for sure. The question is, do they reinforce this with higher quality troops? Well, last I knew, Germany was in no place to begin an offensive. Because, okay, they have upped it a little bit. Before they had 2 military factories making armor. Now they have 12 to 13. That's not a lot of military factories making armor. And they're at just flat 0 manpower. Cool. So with 12 to 13 factories making armor, they are in absolutely no position to strike back at us. Now, armor isn't all that good on the defense. So maybe that's their rationale. But without armor, they're going to be really hard-pressed to push into us. This is, at this point, an awkward fill-in. Very awkward indeed. I'm probably going to delete this order at this time and recreate it over here. We wanted this to be this position. Mountains and then river. Like that. Go ahead and execute that. Cool. So we'll try to push them out of these defensible positions, and we're going to need to wait for some of our troops to arrive at the front over there. We've been pushing ahead very, very quickly, and how are we doing logistically up here now? It's still looking surprisingly good, logistically. Surprisingly good. Getting these 2 victory points would be amazing. We're not targeting this one at this time. Only this one across the river. But our next movement here will be to take this river position here. Over this way, we're probably going to look to take, like, the Horn of Africa and cut off this position here and then fill in this area. And that'll be fine. But this offensive is going swimmingly. The German troops that we're facing here are bad, objectively. And they've always been. These are like their bottom tier garrison troops. Their good troops are over on this front. We fought them in India. And we did pretty well against them, but to be honest, that was mostly the US that did well against them there. But we're absolutely wrecking them in Africa right now. So that's great. Now these Finland troops here, those are a little bit better. Is Finland... Oh, okay. I didn't realize that Finland was in the Central Powers. Norway and Sweden are neutral, but Finland is not. Interesting. I know we've been fighting Finnish troops, I guess, so that shouldn't be surprising to me. Looks like we're about to finish up our goal for this army. That's great. And we're definitely seeing some supply issues down over here. That just means we need to continue to push ahead, and we are. We are absolutely pushing ahead here. So we've achieved our goal over here. That now means that this army needs a new offensive line, and as I said, that offensive line will be something kind of like this. Now, this is not necessarily the most defensible position, especially in these 2 provinces. But that is the goal. So we'll see about taking the Horn of Africa. And the real question is, how many resources are there over here? Almost none. There's a lot of rubber up here. Not that we really need rubber. We do have a free military factory. I'm going to toss 1 into making additional anti-air. And then I'm going to toss 5 eventually into making more tanks. We don't need them right now, but for the time being, that will do. How are we doing on our tank count anyway? We need 716 for reinforcement. That number keeps dropping. I love it. So our attack over here is not necessarily doing so well. But we just took Leopoldville. Now that is a victory point, which of course means that our supplies over here are going to get a lot better. There's a supply hub built here too, with a railroad going into this level 7 naval base. So that will help a lot once that comes online. That'll be great. And looks like we're absolutely pushing up over this way. They just don't have the troops to stop us. We just got 1,000 more manpower. That'll immediately go away. Cool. So the question is, how stretched will our troops get if we try to push up like this, right? I mean, we're going to need to leave troops over here to fight Turkey, which could be potentially problematic for us. Oh, we can assign a trait to this guy. Fortress Buster. Sounds good. We'll grab that, and we can also give him a military high command. We can make him an entrenchment specialist or an artillery specialist. And we'll make him an artillery specialist because we are on the attack. So Germany is definitely on the back foot here. There's no doubt about that. I want to grab this victory point since it's undefended. We'll just walk across the river here and grab that. Cool. There's also this naval base and victory point here. Looks like we're already going after it. I was just thinking about ordering that, but the AI already got that. Sounds good. How are things looking up over here? We're actually being attacked in this province, which we flagged as a potential danger, but it looks like we are going to hold that. We are waiting for additional troops to move up to this front. And looking at the railways over here, they are not particularly good. And this rail network is not connected to this rail network in any way. So I think step 1, upgrade this to rank 5, this to rank 5. Step 2, we build a railway network over here, upgraded to rank 5. And I think I queued that up down here. Yes, I did. Okay. And then we can definitely upgrade these. There's a lot of rail networks being built here, and we still want to prioritize our nuclear reactor. But other than that, this should be good. That will provide a lot more supplies up over this direction, and keep our logistics network a lot more up and running, shall we say. Why did this just flip over to the French Commune? I guess this was originally taken from the French Commune? A little unfortunate, but it is what it is. They're really trying to attack us here. Do we have reinforcements going in there? We currently don't. We could bring these guys over like so. But yeah, as I said, this is not necessarily the most defensible of positions. Oh my! This is 21 German troops here. Or 21 German divisions, rather. That's a huge amount of manpower there. So they have an airbase here. Taking this airbase is of vital importance. We need to get over there. And we need to do it now. Like, yesterday. to the point where I'm going to have these guys come here, and I'm going to have this tank unit come up here and take that. Because if we can take that, we can drop a nuke on this and do just a tremendous amount of damage to the Germans. That is the goal here, I think. I just want to check in. Yeah, they're definitely recruiting up. Okay. So we're going to take that airbase. That is huge. So we have this airbase. And at this point, we need to flip these guys. Or not these guys. These guys. Angola doesn't matter anymore. We need to get these guys up to this airbase. Oh, we don't have control of the state, so we can't do that, right? I'm pretty sure that's how this works. Wait, what? Oh, there we go. I must have just had them selected wrong. Because their goal then should be East Africa. So they're going to make their way up there. These guys have all moved. I guess they sensed danger. Oh, look at that. A light tank brigade. Interesting. Okay, so our air power is going to arrive here soon. Fantastic. So we're going to launch that, and there's going to be German planes here, for sure. But we will reduce their ability to do things up this way. Where is their next airbase, anyway? Where indeed? Perhaps this is naval air? We see an airbase here. But there's not much else out over this way. Interesting. I'd very much like to know where all of those German troops went. That would be nice. I feel like this tank unit is exposed, but maybe not, actually. You know what? What if we were to do that and get these guys in the horn completely cut off? We are going to need reinforcements up over here to man this line. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, this is all going to the French commune here. I'm going to delete this order. And we're going to offensive line on this river. Yeah, that's a little awkward. We're an offensive line on this river over to this river, like so. Cool. So I very much want to get these guys cut off. They will have naval supplies over here. This is for sure. We know that for a fact, but I want to bisect them here. Unfortunately, our forces are moving pretty slowly over here at this moment. But they will arrive eventually. And we've pushed them out of this location. We will continue to push them. Cool. I feel like we're stretched pretty thin here, though. I feel like there's not really much doubt about that one. We could move these guys over to help out. It's a possibility. Okay, so this attack order needs to be deleted. And then these guys, they need to get a new offensive line with the goal of simply taking over this. Cool. So we're currently losing here. Again, tanks are really bad at defending, but it looks like we may actually pull that off. We do have an armored division that can be sent over. Fantastic. How are we doing on our second armored division? It still needs more tanks. And actually, our number of tanks that we need has increased. That's not necessarily a good thing. We can definitely toss more military factories as we get them, at the tank production. But that is clearly needed. Okay, so there is an airbase here. We'd very much like to get that. We'd also really like to get their naval bases and cut off their supplies over here. But I think for the time being, we need to allow these troops to deploy up here. We've advanced incredibly quickly, and we're a little overextended, to be honest. It is, however, time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to continue pushing back the Germans, hopefully. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, JJ Gamer, ALS Gamer, Ken2In, Jensgram, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.